Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing really well. I have been so excited to film this video. I'm just really excited to be hopefully back into more fashion and styling content here on my channel. But of course, to kickstart things, I had to show you my brand new wardrobes in this house. We went for the Ikea PAX wardrobe, and I've actually filmed a whole process of picking our wardrobes, the building process, all of that. I have been filming it since months ago, since we first got these, but they're actually not quite finished yet, so that video isn't ready to share with you. We're still missing the handles on the doors, and also the doors are actually so incredibly wonky because we need to sort out the hinges, but hinges are surprisingly harder than I thought they were. So yeah, those are still the sort of finishing tweaks we need to do for the wardrobes, but hopefully soon you will be seeing a full video of our PAX wardrobes. But for the time being, for today's video, I just wanted to finally bring in my clothes from home and put them into my wardrobe. I'm so excited about it. If you've seen any of my previous wardrobe organization or wardrobe clear out videos from my old wardrobes, then you'll know the sort of layout that I was accustomed to, and I tried to copy that here because I know it works for me. I really enjoyed that sort of layout, so I wanted the exact same thing here. So I have a hanging rail section, which is the larger section of my wardrobe, and actually because these are the Ikea PAX, I was able to customize them a little bit further, and I then went for the half drawers as well. And previously I had little baskets that I would just pull out from the bottom, whereas here I have these dedicated drawers which are working really well. I actually really do like this addition. And then I have the other section which is just here, we'll get to that a little bit later, and that is my shelving section. So that's where I keep everything from jeans, skirts, jumpers, t-shirts, things like that, things folded, because I don't typically use a chest of drawers, and actually in this house I don't have a chest of drawers for any of my clothes. Literally everything is in my wardrobe, and that's exactly what I wanted to create with my space. So today, I don't know if this will be a super chatty video, although I'm sure this intro has been incredibly chatty, but I think I just need to get to work and get going because there really is a lot to bring over. But I'm really excited about it, and I hope you enjoy watching the video. I'm going to start with my hanging pieces. It's so lovely starting to see my wardrobe filling up with so many of my favourite pieces. Honestly, it just makes me happy. There's just something about a sea of colour which brightens up my mood. And actually, I thought I would quickly mention the hangers that we ended up going for. I thought about whether it was worth like buying sets of hangers that were all the same, because I never have, because it's always felt like a bit of a meaningless purchase almost, like just a bit unnecessary. I was very happily using the, you know, like the shop hangers that you sometimes get like M&S and places like that, those sort of plastic ones. But actually I'm so happy we did go for hangers in the end. I felt like new bougie-ish wardrobe, then let's go for some new bougie hangers as well. And these were really inexpensive. They were a pack of 50 for under £15, I believe, and they are a black thin velvet. And the reason I love these is because the fact that they're velvet means if you have any like silky silky clothing items, for example, that they're not going to slip off these hangers. So they have a bit more of a grip to them because they're velvet, and also they are super thin. And the fact that they are incredibly thin means I can fit in so many in my wardrobe. Like sometimes, I know those wooden effect hangers are really popular, but they're just so bulky, and I feel like they take up so much space in a wardrobe that half your wardrobe is almost taken up by just hanger space. So these are excellent because they are so thin, they fit in so seamlessly, and like I said, any sort of strappy dresses or things that sometimes slip off hangers. I used to get that all the time with my previous hangers, like things would just slip off the hangers all the time, but with these they sort of just grip that little bit better, so they stay in place that little bit better as well. And I really do like these. I will link them in the description box if you are in the market for some new hangers. Very happy to have this dress again. It was an old H&M one, but it's definitely got Ganni vibes, and it's my fave leopard print. Very happy. I did try to declutter before actually bringing everything to my house, so I did sort of go through everything that I had in my wardrobe back at my parents' house, and not just bring absolutely everything for the sake of it. So I did do a bit of a declutter then, but I equally definitely have some pieces here that I'm kind of unsure of. But typically when it's the season, I find it really hard to declutter things before the season, because I mean, now I might think I'm not going to wear said piece, but then maybe halfway through spring I might be like, oh, I knew I had this and I would love to wear it. Do you know what I mean? So I find it quite hard to declutter, but I did do my best and decluttered like a fair amount, believe it or not. I know it probably looks like I have an absurd amount of clothes, which I would say I do, to be honest, but I definitely did try to declutter to some extent, but this is what I've been left with, and this is filling up pretty fast. Just looking at all the pieces that I still have laid on my bed in front of me, and it is looking like I'm going to have to be doubling up on the hangers, because this is what I have left. Although I do still have a brand new box, but I didn't really want to open it, to be honest with you. I genuinely thought, oh no, I won't need that, I don't have that many clothes, but turns out I do. But I may be doing like a bit of doubling up, just because. Now don't get me wrong, there are definitely some items that are a little bit harder to double up with on the hangers, but I think, for instance, all of these sort of strappy dresses, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and I do think that these could be on like 2 hangers, for example. So I don't know, I kind of really like the idea of having everything on its own separate hanger, but equally I just think it's taking up too much space and it's kind of unnecessary. So I'm going to group these two together, which will then free up a hanger. But also, I just don't think there's anything, like, I can see these just as easily in my wardrobe. It's not sort of hiding any of them, and it just means that I have one extra hanger that I can use for something else, if that makes sense. And it's very limited for the types of clothes that you can do this for. You can't do it for absolutely everything in your wardrobe. Like, I don't find it useful to group together shirts, for example, because it doesn't quite work. It is quite specific in just like a strappy sort of dress. And because I don't have that many of them, I feel like it's fine. So again here, rather than using 2 hangers, I've just got the 2 dresses on the 1 hanger, and I think that works really well. And then I'll do it with these 2 as well, a white dress and a black dress, and again saved myself a hanger, and you can still see the dresses just as well. And here we go. This is all of the dresses up. A lot. But as you can see, this section here goes kind of down to the floor. Can you see? Actually, I don't know, but because I've got the shelving here, obviously on this side I want to keep the shorter dresses that I have, so I've gone for sleeve length order, which is what I used to do back with my other wardrobe, and I want to continue that here. So I've got some jumpsuits on the end, and then long sleeve midis and like long dresses, then going into a shorter sleeve, sleeveless, and then I do also have a couple of trousers, or no, just one pair of trousers, which I don't typically keep in my wardrobe like hung up like this, but this particular pair, they're linen, and so if they're folded they just have ultimate amount of creases. So in a bid to prevent that, I have hung these up. And then I also just have some midi skirts and things. I do have a couple more midi skirts that I want to add into here, but that's what I've gone with because the midi is just the perfect length to not hit the top of the drawers, so that works out really well. And then I have dresses, short dresses here, but going in the opposite direction, so going from short or like sleeveless to long sleeves. Now I do have this knitted dress here. I also brought a couple of knitted dresses from my other wardrobe, although it's not knitted dress season, so that's really weird because I know I left loads of knitwear and things still at my parents' house because there was no point bringing those already if it's not really knitwear season, and I have so many knits and jumpers and things here already that I didn't need any extra, particularly for spring and summer. So my plan is to go through those pieces closer to autumn and winter, but that just means that I don't necessarily want those big bulky pieces in my wardrobe currently, but everything else is quite summery, I'd say, bar this, but this is kind of like a light layering piece, but I am going to take it out of my wardrobe for the time being anyway, but we'll see where that ends up going. I don't necessarily have that many tops that require being hung up like this, so I don't think I'll be adding too much more in here. But I know that I did say I didn't want to open a new box of hangers, but I am going to need to because I'm out of hangers. So I'm just adding in my skirts. These, again, I usually double up, sometimes even like triple, quadruple up. Like I really do add a lot of skirts together on one hanger because I just find that to be an easier way to keep them all and they don't take up too much hanger space. But currently, yeah, so currently in my wardrobe I had these two, just a floral one and my sort of like off-white cream long one. So then in addition I have a gold one, a green one, and actually I think I'm going to put the green one with this one because both the green and the cream are longer style midis, whereas the other midis in my collection were all very much like popular, I'd say maybe like 2-3 years ago, when you'd have that midi length that was just above, like just below the knee, I'd say, on me anyway, whereas now it's definitely more popular and like trend led to wear a more maxi, I would say. I think I'm going to pair these two together, which is this gorgeous like champagne gold color. This I really loved wearing for party season, but I'm thinking on holiday that could look really nice, especially if it's dressed down with something a bit more like an oversized tee or something like that. I think it could look quite nice. One thing I've really missed about not having my wardrobe sort of, or like all my clothes here, or just like feeling settled, I guess. One thing I've really missed is styling, just styling, like styling outfits, putting together different outfit ideas and doing, for example, my 7 days of outfit series, which I did on Instagram quite frequently last year. I used to do it at least every season, and I really loved that because it kind of challenged me to go a little bit outside of my comfort zone and experiment with different outfits and stuff. And genuinely, this whole year so far I've done like barely anything in terms of styling and fashion content, which I'm really sad about actually, because I do love it, and that's what really got me into social media in the first place, was just sort of sharing my personal style and what I enjoyed wearing and putting outfits together and things like that. So I feel like finally filling up my wardrobe with the pieces that I love is hopefully like a step in the right direction. So those were all my skirts, and now I have trousers, and these hangers I had in my wardrobe previously. I think these are so smart. So you can fit 5 pairs of trousers on these hangers, and I just think that's excellent. So here we go. I only have 4 pairs for this hanger, so there is 1 additional space, but it works really well. I really like it. It saves space because it compacts them, but they're lower down so they don't bulk out too much. They do get quite heavy though. Obviously where they have 5 pairs of trousers on them, they are a much thicker, sturdier hanger, so they do typically get quite heavy. So just make sure that, you know, you're not putting too much weight that maybe the wardrobe can't handle. But I've been really happy with these. I've had them for a good number of years actually, and they've worked incredibly well for me. And another great thing about these is that because they're all folded, they still remain quite short in my wardrobe, so they fit above this section. And here we have hanger number 2, silver trousers, faux leather leggings. I know it's not necessarily the season for these, but like I said, it's just easier to keep them in the wardrobe. So I have trousers on the end here, and then long-ish dresses, then into the sleeveless territory, going into shorter dresses. Then I have like shirts and things here, which I don't know if this bit I'm not quite content with yet, but we'll see. And then here on the end, I've put the trousers and the skirts. For the time being, I think that's okay. The only bit I'm unsure about is these sort of like sleeveless tops, because I think they are kind of lost in here, like lost in a sea of clothes. So I have to see how I get on with that and how I think that's working or not. I don't have too many of those, to be honest, but yeah, this is how we're looking on this side. I don't think there is anything else that I want to hang up. On to section number 2 now. This is the other part of my wardrobe, and here I just have shelves. I haven't actually worked out exactly how I want these shelves to be spaced out or anything, but similarly to the wardrobe that I had back at my parents' house, I had a hanging rail section and then I had a section of just shelving. So I wanted to do the exact same thing here. However, one thing I will say is that the width, or the depth I should say, of the Ikea PAX wardrobes, or the particular one we chose, is much deeper than the one I had at home. So actually I do think it's going to be a little bit harder to see all of my clothes, particularly the higher up we get. For instance, this shelf up here, I think anything that I have too far at the back I won't be able to see as easily. So that's definitely something that I want to keep in mind, because I didn't have wardrobes that were as high as these nor as deep as these. So we're working with slightly different dimensions and things here, but hopefully I will still be able to make that work. Obviously I have quite a lot of knitwear in here because, as I mentioned earlier, we moved here in January, so just lots of knits and things. And to be fair, the weather hasn't been that great. Even now that we're in June, it's still sometimes like quite chilly and you do need a jumper. As always with these kind of clear outs, I just think the easiest thing to do is to take everything out and then sort of work your way up. I think what I'm going to do firstly is go through the knitwear that I have here, because I always keep out some light layers because it's always good to keep out some. Like I said, the weather currently isn't that great, so still definitely need a few knitwear pieces. But then there are some other pieces that I think I'm just going to store away as well. Okay, so I've moved you up and I have a little stepping stool. I'm going to be honest, I feel like from here, I'm standing on the floor, this is very I mean, I can still reach, especially the ones at the top. They'll be fairly easy to reach, but I guess I should bring you back down now. I was banking on the fact of this shelf being quite high up, but actually what I'm going to do, I think, is lower it by one so that it is that bit more accessible. And then everything else I feel like can be a bit more compact, because like jeans I feel like don't require a huge amount of space. Same goes with like shorts and things like that. And currently everything is just spaced out a little more than usual. So I'm going to change this shelf to the bottom, maybe even 2 lower, then have another one just here, I think, and that will give me a little gap here for things like t-shirts and lightweight tops, things like that. And then I will go into another, which should be for like skirts and shorts, then one for jeans, and then I'll have loungewear at the bottom. And I think I will still have plenty of additional space, so that's what I'm banking on. So let's try. Moved that down 2 spaces actually, and I just think that makes it a little bit easier for me to reach, a little bit easier to see everything. So hopefully that will work out okay, because this is both a good and a bad thing about the Ikea PAX wardrobe. I love that you can move everything and it is very modular, so if you do change your mind, or even if you just need different types of storage dependent on the seasons, this works really well. So for example, for me, being able to adjust and move the shelves up and down is great. However, it does just take a little while to sort of unscrew everything and then screw everything back in, but we'll get there. So I've done all of the shelf adjusting that I'm going to do today. If I change my mind, it's not happening today because everything has taken much longer than anticipated. But anyway, in this top shelf, I'm now going to put just t-shirts, light tops, that sort of thing. Then below that, I'm going to go for skirts and shorts. Below that, I'm going to go for my denim, and then I'm going to go for loungewear, which will then leave me quite a big gap at the bottom of my wardrobe, which is where currently I have loungewear. So like some like thicker tracksuits and just, you know, like the things I wear every day at home basically. They've all been living there, but I do think that they can now move up one, which then gives me basically an empty space, which is nice. And I think what I'll do with that is pop in my handbag. I do have a few like heat tech and like thermals, which I'm not going to keep out. I do think I have the space for them, but I just really hope I won't be wearing them. Or I am thinking if I just pop them here, you can't really see them. But anyway, these are my long sleeve tops, which I am going to put all the way at the back because fingers crossed I won't be needing those. I have a few lightweight bodysuits as well, and I've always found it really difficult to know where to put bodysuits because I feel like ideally they should be hung up, but they just take up too much space to be hung up in my opinion. So I'm going to pop them there at the back, again because those are long sleeve ones. And then all of these I think are sleeveless, and then I have a couple of t-shirts. I definitely have more t-shirts somewhere, but as you can see, that's looking quite bare in my opinion. But this is what this section will be for, just like the light layers, the light tops. Onto skirts and shorts next. Typically the only skirts I keep hanging are those satin slip style skirts because if they are folded they'll just crease so much, but everything else typically tends to live in my wardrobe folded. I did actually have a lot of my denim here already, so I didn't bring that many additional pairs from my wardrobe back at my parents' house, but what I do have I'm going to pop away now. I've always liked to have my jeans sort of like this where I can see them, and then I fold them like one pair faces the outwards and the other pair faces the opposite direction, and this has worked really well for me. I've had it like this for a few years now and I enjoy it. I can see everything, I know exactly what I have, and it just works really well for me. I have a couple of shorts cohorts as well, and because I don't want to split them up, as in put my shirts hanging up and then my shorts in here, I'm just going to keep them both together with the shorts. And we are done, at least for now. For today's video, I am calling this a day. Everything that I want to be in my wardrobe is in my wardrobe, so I would call that a success. I do have still a sea of clothing around me which I'm going to need to sort through, but before I do that off camera, I want to give you the full wardrobe tour of how everything is looking for my spring and summer wardrobe. And here we go, a final view of my entire wardrobe for spring and summer. I'm intrigued to see how I'll get along with it. Doing something differently, in my opinion, always allows for room for improvement. If there is anything that you sort of spotted and thought it would be a better idea for me to make use of certain spaces, for example, like, please do let me know. Any storage tips, leave them in the comments down below. And there we go, that's how my wardrobe is looking. Thank you for joining me in my wardrobe big sort out and organize. I actually definitely am in need of some tips for like storage, or if you saw anything and thought, oh, actually that would be a good way to store knitwear, for example, like, please do let me know, please do comment. It's my first time with an Ikea PAX wardrobe, so I know you can do so many things and it's so modular, so I'm sure I can make some changes should I need to. But this is how it's looking at the moment. This is what I will be working with this spring and summer. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you next week in a new video. Bye!